समाज जिन तत्वों से बनता है वो सिर्फ लोगों से नहीं बनता दिव्या, समाज बनता है प्रकृति से, हमारे आसपास जो जीव जंतु हैं उनसे भी, और उनके प्रति प्रेम को जगाना बहुत बड़ी समाज सेवा है। और सच बताऊं तो ये हम अपने खुद के लिए सेवा कर रहे हैं, क्यों?
और हमारी आज की पहली मेहमान है इस चीज का उदाहरण, जो कि एनिमल वेलफेयर थ्रू एजुकेशन करती हैं, जिनका नाम है वसंती कुमार जी, और उनके साथ हैं अमृता जी, जो कि एक ह्यूमेन एजुकेटर है। आइए स्वागत करते हैं।
बहुत बहुत स्वागत है वसंती जी आपका, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है अमृता आपका। आप दोनों स्ट्रॉ इस संस्था से जुड़े हैं, आप इस संस्था की फाउंडर हैं वसंती जी। सबसे पहले तो हम ये जानना चाहेंगे कि जब हम बात करते हैं प्रेम की, तो वो प्रेम केवल अपने आसपास के इंसानों के साथ प्रेम नहीं है, बल्कि जो प्रकृति है, और प्रकृति में जिसका कि हम भी सिर्फ एक छोटा सा हिस्सा हैं, उस पूरी प्रकृति का प्रेम है। लेकिन आप स्ट्रॉ के माध्यम से ये बड़ा काम कर रही हैं कि इस प्रेम को एक तरह से वापस सिखा रही हैं, जगा रही हैं। इसकी प्रेरणा कहाँ से मिली?
I'll talk to you in English.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll be able to explain it better in English, so let me do it in English. When we started Straw, we felt that there was hardly anybody available to, hardly any organization that were able to raise a voice for animals. Yes, for people, we all raise voice for each other. Our families, our children, are very close, our neighbors, and for everybody else, all the people who surround us, we take up causes for them. We had lots of organizations who took care of children, their education, the issues of women welfare, but there was hardly any organizations who were doing anything for animals. So we felt that we should do something for animals.
Right.
So that was the starting point, which we started to
and talking about
registered Straw.
When did you realize that this social change is really needed? What's the story behind it?
Well, the story is just a realization that animals needed a voice. They have a voice, but nobody is really, speaking up for them. So that realization, when that realization happened, we decided that we should do it for animals, not take up the causes for for human beings, let's say.
Right.
So that's how the thing started. Yeah.
So there's a story of Papia who actually was probably instrumental. Yes, okay. Who was probably instrumental.
Yes.
If you could just share that story with our viewers.
Okay, I'm talking a period little earlier to Papia actually.
Okay.
So then, of course, I've had a dog all along, and then I was very close with dogs particularly, and then after that we had. When we were taking a walk one day, I found this dog who was abandoned on the street, and he was a small Pomeranian dog, and he was lost, and he was going to come under a car. So then I tried to rescue him. I picked him up, and I tried to find a home for him. Nobody took him, and though he was beautiful, but he had matted hair, lot of maggots and all that. Took him home, washed him, cleaned him. And then after that, ever since then, he became my dog, because nobody else, the owner didn't come to take him. So that particular incident brought about a change in my thinking that, this is something that I need to do. That my calling was there.
Right. Amrita ji, you are an educator with Straw. And what Straw believes in and what Straw works for is animal welfare through education, right? So what do you think is one strength of this, this idea, and why do you think that animal welfare through education is that important in today's times?
So we see a lot of kids are there, and the age group that we focus is mainly 8 to 12 years, which is a very crucial shaping period of kids. So when we introduce them to values like empathy, kindness, it stays with them. In a culture where we are just heading towards other values and we are barely in touch with our cultural values. But when we talk to kids, when we teach them how to be empathetic, they have so many stories to share. They just open their hearts, tell us the stories about how they did see an animal in need, how they wanted to help. So not just animal welfare through education, but in our workshops that we conduct, we see that kids find a space where they can express the soft side. When we talk about values of empathy and kindness, we call them as soft, what should I say, soft traits, right? But we see that the kids get a space, so they express how they once saw an injured animal and they wanted to help. So we feel like we give them that platform. So
we can see some colorful bowls in the pictures.
Yeah.
What's the story behind it? Is it something like the students painted?
Right. So this summer, Straw India launched a campaign called Pause and Paint, which aimed at providing water bowls for the community animals. So in that session, what we did was we took workshops with children of various age groups. We told them the importance of placing water bowls for the community animals and birds. Not only that, we had an hands-on activity for them in which we gave them water bowls which they were supposed to paint, and they took those bowls home, maintained it for the animals. So the concept is that when you give them an opportunity to create something on their own, they are more likely to take up the responsibility of it. So when we gave that creative freedom to the kids to paint those water bowls, everyone just poured their hearts out. Someone drew all kinds of animals on the bowl, showing that how all animals need water. I mean, they just started remembering all the incidents where they saw animals on the streets looking for water and they couldn't find it. So they took that responsibility by themselves. They showed enthusiasm. So that's an on-ground impact that we made, and this campaign was run across 3 cities, Delhi, Bhopal and Hyderabad.
So you have educators all over the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as of now we are functional in 4 cities, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bhopal and Bangalore. So our educators are there, they take workshops. So in this campaign we have placed across about 500, more than 500 water bowls across these 3 cities. So imagine the impact.
Of course. क्या होता है वैसे in workshops में, like what's the process?
So we take them through a presentation wherein we tell them the importance of kindness. So we teach them. The interaction starts with asking them questions in order to prompt them to think. We don't like to keep these workshops one-sided, that we are going there, giving a lecture and coming back. The emphasis is more on promoting a conversation. So we ask them a question, they think about it, they answer us back. And towards the end of the session, we have an activity planned. Sometimes it's an activity sheet that we do, or in this case, we did water bowl painting. We also have this safe game, which teaches them how to be safe around community dogs.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
I'd like to just add to what she's saying. Of course, like what Amruta said, we are operating in 4 different cities. We also carry out an online program called Stories of Kindness.
Okay.
So here we have, sometimes we even have 100 registrations, and we have about 50-60 children who participate in this. It's an online session. It happens twice in a month, and children are participating, and we do it through storytelling. So we tell them stories about animals, and then we have a discussion on that particular thing. We take up a particular animal at a time, or a particular cause. Like for example, I like to add, like, you know, we all take elephant rides, for example. So we had a story about elephant rides, about what happens to an elephant. It's not that the elephant walks up one day and tells, here I am, I'm going to give you a ride. It doesn't happen like that. So actually the elephant, people go and kidnap the elephant from their herds, from their mothers, bring them, literally torture them, so that they start listening to them.
Right.
And then they are brought over to give a ride to the tourists, which we all enjoy, calling it a joy ride.
Joy ride.
But then what does the animal go through? So most of us are not aware. Even I was not aware at one point in time. So we teach children, this is what happens to an elephant, this is what happens to a horse, this is what happens to a camel.
Right.
So then they take a pledge that they will not ride any of these things.
Right.
And
Wonderful.
this, we believe, will stay with them for life.
Wow.
Absolutely. I think compassion is something that's there within each of us.
Right, exactly.
But there is something, you know, that needs to bring that
Yeah,
compassion
that's where
out,
we fill
and
up.
that's what you're
That's
doing.
exactly what we
so,
do.
compassion for animals and compassion for fellow human beings. How do these two connect, Vasanthi ji?
Okay, that's a lovely question you asked me. See, we believe that children know they're actually born with compassion.
Right.
They have a love for animals. You can see grandparents taking their children for a walk and they go, "Bow bow hai."
Haan, bow bow
You
hai.
might have seen that, okay? So that is, and the children react to it. So that is a natural instinct. If you leave children alone, they will become friends with animals.
Right.
But then, no, there are a lot of parents say that,
नहीं, नहीं, हाथ मत लगाओ,
हाथ मत लगाओ,
काट
काटेगा,
लेगा.
yes. Then the child stays back. So when we try to, this gap is what Straw India fills up. And once a child starts loving animals, then they become compassionate and empathetic. And then if a child becomes empathetic and compassionate to an animal, it is very natural that the child will automatically become compassionate to a human being. It is a spectrum. It just gets connected like that.
So ma'am, generally क्या होता है कि rescue करते हैं या the process of rehabilitation is there, but you chose education for animal welfare. Why particularly education?
Yeah. Well, I believe that education is the key for change. Any kind of a change in society, education does it. And I believe what we call as humane education, this is something that does not exist. It has existed in few other countries, but does not be there in India. And we try to, we have been trying to bring that.
Right.
Bring
Even
that
on our
We can see the
screens, we have
smiles.
some
I
smiling
know.
faces, children attending the workshops, attending your classes.
Taking interest. They
Yeah,
have been
and they're taking
आगे
very
आगे
keen
जब झुकते हैं
interest
तो
in this.
interest आ रहा है उनको इसका.
And it rightly says it's actually nurturing empathy,
Nice.
right? Yeah.
So,
This is Amruta
Ah.
in this picture. Yeah.
so
This one I like to explain. This is called as a web of life, what she is doing.
Okay.
Web of life. That is in our surroundings, we are all interconnected. Starting from the sun to the smallest creature on earth, earthworm for example, or an ant, we are all connected in some way or the other. And this is something that we do not realize. So when we play this game, it's kind of a game in which we have a ball of wool, which we pass it on to every child, and then the net gets formed. You know, like a web, not net, a web gets formed. And then if you just remove the string that is holding on to one finger of one child, you will realize that the net becomes loose.
Right.
So every child, I mean every element in this on this earth, they are all interconnected. And if one of them is not there, then there is definitely a imbalance.
Right.
Is
But
there.
the irony of today's age is that the kids and even the adults are actually stuck in a web, which is the World Wide Web, right? In this digital age, the problem is that we are all losing that connection with nature. We are forgetting that we are nature ourselves and we are a part of it, and as Vasanthi ji rightly said, we are all connected through the web of life. So even without a single creature, I think the web of life is completely disturbed, right?
Yeah.
So in this age of digital technology where people are actually losing connect with the nature, how do you think this path of educating people and connecting them with nature works, and what is it that you actually take care of when you're taking these classes, when you're teaching children
so as
and young adults, of course?
yeah, so
Young
as we
adults
were
also.
just discussed about why education in the field of animal welfare. So education makes you to think. It prompts you to think. So when we conduct these workshops, as you said, the digital world, we are losing connect with our nature, our surroundings. But when people, I mean kids and young adults, when they attend our sessions, when we bring their attention to their surroundings, they start to realize that, oh, they are living but not living in the moment. So they try to ground themselves in the present, and then they start observing what they are missing out on. So as ma'am was telling, our sessions of stories of kindness, so in that also we give them an activity, homework kind of a thing that they have to do. So recently we did the topic of our stories of kindness was light pollution. So we asked them, the activity that we gave was for them to sit down after the sun sets near the window or something and observe what is happening in the nature, so that they see what happens, how life unfolds around them. So it's basically we are trying to bring online people offline.
Please consider us children and tell us
Please,
कि
you are
हम क्या
most
ध्यान
welcome.
रखें गर्मी में, हम कैसे ध्यान रखें, आप हमें भी बताइए प्लीज.
जानवरों को.
Yeah, हाँ, बिल्कुल.
of
If
course,
there are
जानवरों
3
को
tips
कैसे
that you
ध्यान
want to share with
Yes.
our viewers, like how should they take care of animals in this scorching heat? How do they do
in
that?
fact, we have brought 2 water bowls
Yeah.
for you people.
Okay,
which
wow.
we have left it
Painted
there.
by the children?
Unfortunately, it's not painted because
Okay.
this happened all of a
We
sudden.
can paint it, no?
Yeah,
We can
paint
paint
it.
it.
Yes,
That's
right. We have an activity now.
So we brought these bowls, and you can just put it out maybe in Doordarshan compound itself,
Sure.
and just make one of your people to fill it up every day.
Huh.
That itself is a big service to the animal kind.
Deal.
Yeah,
Yes,
that can, you can start it with that.
Haan.
So
That
the
is of course
question
there,
that-
and then of course the poor animals are hungry and they are thirsty. So if you could take care of them like that, it's great. And I think getting friendly with an animal, a dog, is just, it requires just a few biscuits.
Right.
Just give it to them, because they are, why do they get, I mean, why do they attack you or anything? Because they just do not have trust. When once they start trusting you, they become friends and they become loyal for life.
Right, right.
And if we try to impart this thing to our children, that all they require is a little bit of love.
Absolutely.
And you might have seen on many of our standees says, just give a little bit of love.
Yes,
of
That's
course.
all they need.
Right, right.
So about the water bowls we were talking. So a lot of times we are posed with this question that why do we have to put water for animals and birds? So if you look around, we do have water sources, but we have made it inaccessible for the animals and birds. Water is there, but in tap format. How would the animals open?
Press नहीं कर
Yes.
सकते.
So that is where we as humans are responsible, that we should put out some water for the animals.
Clean water.
Clean water.
Clean water.
So when we put out, like ask people to put water bowls, it is not to just put water and forget about it. It requires maintaining so that it doesn't do harm. Because if it is not maintained, if it is unhygienic, there would be infections that would spread for the birds or the animals, consuming water. So it comes with a responsibility. It feels like a huge task, but it is not.
Right.
And all of the efforts that you put in to maintain a water bowl makes sense when you see one bird quenching its thirst in a hot summer day. So it's all worth it when you see
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely. Vasanthi ji, there's one question I would like to ask you here. You have contributed content to CBSE, NCERT about humane education. How do you think introducing humane education as a subject, which is probably mandatory, at least in school curriculum, would bring a societal change or transformation? How do you envision that?
I wish your words come true, firstly. Because that is something I think every animal welfare activist tries to do that. Because we would like, especially in the area of humane education, we would like that our contents get into textbooks, which is what we tried. And fortunately, we managed to get a little bit, get something into textbooks. When children are given marks for their subjects, they really work towards it. So if humane education gets into textbooks, becomes a part of curriculum, it will bring about a change. Because see, our education is very academic, where empathy and compassion, these kind of things are not paid importance to. It is more towards how you can get yourself a job and how you can economically take care of yourself. But these kind of small factors, I won't say call it small, actually they are huge things actually, because as a person, if you are a compassionate person, you make a difference to the society. So that can bring about a change. And if it goes into curriculum, I think you will have better societies. And many countries, including Singapore and Taiwan and Austria, and also all the Scandinavian countries, have made it mandatory to have humane education as part of their curriculum. And as you may already know, the Scandinavian countries are number 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the happiness index.
Yes.
So I think the children contribute towards that happiness index in some form or the other. So it does contribute
It's
to.
true that if you give love to people around you, to animals around you, I mean, if you just spread love in general,
Yeah.
that
Comes
is what
back,
you
huh? It
get
comes
back.
Get it
right?
back.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So
You get
I
it
think
back.
yes, that is the biggest motivation.
Yeah. And what we do, what we call it as a ripple effect.
Huh.
Here the education is not from top bottom. It's not the children, parents are teaching something to children. Children learn from us. They go back and talk about it
course.
to their children, to their
Friends.
siblings, friends, and parents. So parents are learning from children. Don't burst crackers during Diwali or any other New Year's Day or any other such times because it causes pollution. And it also affects the life of animals. So the parents are learning from the children.
Right.
You
So
guys are
this
doing
is-
a
and,
wonderful
and especially because you're catching them young.
Yes.
Right. So
They are
because
like
if you inculcate that at that young
Yeah.
stage, so it's going to stay with them forever.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Vasanthi ji. Thank you so much, Amruta ji, for joining us on DD Morning Show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us today.